Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni. Good morning, Good
morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. We start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Sanusi, how Buhari mismanaged Nigeria's economy in 8 years. Says, inexperienced rookie bought private jet under ex-president. Yes, former Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, yesterday, making the statement, of course, assessing the Buhari years as it relates to the economy. And he said a very bad job was done by the former president in running the economy. Never listened to experts, according to the former Emir of Kano. That President Buhari never listened to advice of experts. And ran the economy almost aground. Of course, he referred to the Central Bank of Nigeria that continued to print more money, and the Naira continue to depreciate. There's too much Naira in circulation because the CBN is printing the currency without restraint. Recall that in the twilight of the Buhari administration, of course, the currency redesign policy was introduced. And one of the reasons given for that policy was also to mop up excess currency in circulation, whereas it was the same CBN that was doing the printing of money, even far beyond the legally accepted threshold. And we remember how Nigerians had to suffer under that policy. But this time around, former Emir of Kano is saying that the pains we're feeling today, well, we shouldn't blame it on the current administration. Well, it's not a matter of who has the blame. The fact is that the same APC government put in, of course, they came to power, the Buhari administration, with the able support and pushing of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and, of course, the old APC machinery, as it were. So they were part of the party. If they could not advise the president, they couldn't get the president to do the right thing, I don't think they should just exonerate themselves and say, it is not us. It was Buhari, it was the APC, well supported by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that unleashed whatever policy that put us in so much indebtedness. But again, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, has taken measures to correct some of those errors. But the pains and the pangs he has to deal with, because Nigerians don't want to know about, oh, it was Buhari, and so forth and so on. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, NLC shuns meeting with federal government, starts two-day warning strike, accuses Lalong of industrial dictatorship, blackmail. Strike will worsen plight of Nigerians. Federal government is says we waited on LC for negotiation, all to no avail. Adds no formal communication from labor on strike. Baptist Convention warns NLC against hijack by hoodlums. Asks federal government to hasten palliative. Rethink your stance on warning strike. 100 CSOs tell labor. Of course, not the whole of labor is involved in the strike. As the Nation newspaper is reporting, federal government TUC strike over subsidy pains, not needed now. Of course, the beauty of having two labor centers, NLC proceeding on strike, and of course TUC say, no, not yet. We can still negotiate, and we are going to continue negotiating. So it's not a matter of government actually doing divide and rule, because that's the beauty of having two labor centers. And the TUC believes that the negotiation that is going on should continue, is likely to get result. Otherwise, it will also embark on its own strike at the appropriate time. But NLC has said, look, all the talk, nothing is coming out of the past meeting with government, the federal government. And there isn't enough urgency in even releasing the much talked about palliative. Government promised each state 5 billion naira, and they have only released 2 billion naira to the states as we speak. Of course, the argument has been that if they release the whole 5 billion in one fell swoop, perhaps the place will be awash with naira and with all the implication. Inflation, of course, some may just go into buying dollars and continue the free fall of the naira. Now, also on the front page of the Nation newspaper, above the masthead, Sanwo-Olu drops 5 in new nominees list to assembly. Yes, apparently all the talk and meetings by Sanwo-Olu and members of the leadership of the State House of Assembly seem to have yielded some fruit, because Governor Sanwo-Olu has submitted a new list in which 5 were dropped from the earlier list that were rejected, and they have been replaced. And according to the governor, after careful consideration of the 17 names that were rejected, I have decided to present a list of nominees which includes a balanced selection of previously presented and new individuals. Of course, the list represents a broad political spectrum and diverse backgrounds. Yes, apparently, more politicians have been brought into the list, and we hope this time around the State House of Assembly will give the all clear. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Tinubu's burden of resetting Nigeria in 100 days. Of course, and the verdict, according to the Guardian, bold reforms leave Nigerians more miserable amid assurances. And of course, looking at all the policies the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has unveiled since in the last 100 days: fuel subsidy removal, foreign exchange liberalization, appointment of service chiefs, Emefiele's arrest and prosecution, EFCC boss removal, students loan scheme, dissolution of MDA's board, appointment of ministers, Niger crisis, rising inflation, high fuel prices, bloated cabinet, spike in living costs, shrinking household income. The story of 100 days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as reported there by the Guardian newspaper. And of course, the Business Day newspaper also has something on that. Tinubu's 100 days, bold moves, shaky execution. That's how the Business Day newspaper is looking at the first 100 days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, parties optimistic as Tribunal rules on Atiku Obi's petition tomorrow. Judgment will affirm Tinubu's mandate, APC is saying. We expect justice, nothing else. PDP candidate, we are confident of winning. Labour, ballot, not judiciary will make pronouncement. Code. Well, yes, tomorrow is the day when the Presidential Election Petition Court will give its verdict on the petitions filed by Labour Party and the PDP. And all eyes, this time, all ears will be waiting on the judiciary. And the judiciary has given notice that the judgment will be, the reading of that judgment will be televised live to Nigerians. But people will ask, oh, you did not allow for cameras in the hearing process, saying the court is not a place for drama. But now the reading of the judgment will be televised. Well, we'll all be listening as the politicians hold their breath to know which way the pendulum will swing as regards this judgment. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, as Tribunal fixes judgment date, DSS raises security alarm. Proceedings to be broadcast live tomorrow. Only rerun can rectify INEC's errors. But the judge, we expect justice in line with the law, says PDP LP. We have uncovered plots to mobilize youths for violent protests, says intelligence agency. Of course, the New Telegraph also reporting that story. Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, no faith tomorrow as Tribunal delivers judgment. Well, Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
Well, we seem to have run out of time. But just to say one thing about the election petition tribunal that everybody is looking forward to tomorrow, and the issue about the live telecast, I think we need to stress the point that this is not the first time that there will be a live telecast from the courts in election matters. In 2008, in the consolidated ruling on Buhari versus Yaradua and Atiku versus Yaradua, that was also, televised for the benefit of Nigerians. But I see a lot of excitement that many Nigerians will be able to watch it live tomorrow.
Even in 2019, the Supreme Court ruling, I remember we telecast, it was live here, we were on TV here, Atiku and Buhari.